Out of all of the free agents and all of the potential moves, this was probably the most highly anticipated one and the most correctly guessed one as well. It is official, the King, Derrick Henry, will be leaving the Tennessee Titans and be landing with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a 2-year, $16 million deal worth up to $20 million with $9 million of it guaranteed. And that was Adam Schefter breaking this news over on Twitter just a few minutes ago. Listen, there are going to be some people that argue that Derrick Henry has way too many miles on the tread. There's going to be some people that argue that Derrick Henry just doesn't have it anymore. He's taken too many hits over the course of his career. And there's going to be some people that argue it just because they like to argue. But make no mistake about this, Derrick Henry is not done. And Derrick Henry is in a much better situation now than he was a year ago. Derrick Henry is absolutely a top 10 fantasy running back this year. The big question is going to be, where do you want to draft him? Because again, people are going to make the argument, too many miles, too many hits, just doesn't have it anymore. They're going to bring up Lamar Jackson, stealing rushing attempts and running touchdowns. And I get all of that and I understand it. But we can still go ahead and acknowledge the fact that Derrick Henry is going to have some massive games while in Baltimore, given the offense that they play in, how good that defense is, and how good this team will be overall playing in a positive game script. So yes, top 10 potential for Derrick Henry. Absolutely. But where will you invest in him? I think his draft status is going to be all over the place. I think you're going to see Derrick Henry going in the middle to end of first round in some drafts. And I think potentially we could see him going maybe in the back half of the second round in others, depending on your settings and your scoring. But as I look at it right now, the locks ahead of him are going to be Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and Breece Hall. There'll also be arguments for guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, Kyren Williams and Travis Etienne, and of course, another free agent who just signed, Saquon Barkley. But then when you look at a lot of the guys after that, there's going to be a lot of question marks and contemplation on whether or not they offer as safe of a floor as Derrick Henry will, and if the upside will be worth drafting them over Henry. As I already mentioned, Derrick Henry will be inside my top 10 running backs. He's not going to be a lock for the top 5, but after you get into the back half of some of those names that I just mentioned, Derrick Henry will absolutely be included with them come draft day. And just look at how this Ravens offense evolved this past season. It went from being one where you had to rely on Lamar Jackson doing everything all over the field to Lamar Jackson really becoming a presence within the pocket and handling the offense as such. It led to an MVP season, even if there was an early exit from the playoffs. And that was with injuries at the running back position. Gus Edwards only really being able to score if the ball was on the 1-yard line, and a guy like Justice Hill getting significant snaps during games as well. Derrick Henry's presence in this offense is going to be absolutely elite. Now they just need to add one more pass catcher to bring everything together. I love where Joe Mixon landed. His trade to Houston was absolutely one of the best landing spots that you could hope for. Josh Jacobs going to Green Bay and them releasing Aaron Jones was also a big win for Josh Jacobs and not really needing to deal with another running back by committee. Saquon Barkley landing in Philadelphia is good. He's got a good floor, but that ceiling may not be there for him. Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens is absolutely one of my favorite landing spots in all of free agency and one of the biggest wins for the running back community as well, especially in the fantasy football landscape. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. Breaking news is going crazy during the first couple of days of free agency, and we're dropping instant reaction videos when all of the big names are signing and have some significant fantasy impact. Make sure you don't miss any of that. Stay tuned right here to the Fantasy Headliners. We're going to carry you through the draft, through the offseason, and into the regular season for more fantasy championships.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we run it again.